Hi everyone, my name is Haozhen Yang. You can call me Aaron. Today I'm going to be focusing on Gen Z's attitudes towards working schedules and their attitudes towards working overtime. Here's today's agenda. We're going to be focusing on executive summary, collected data, user experience design, and some trends that I see from the data and my suggestions for actions. So for the executive summary, my project is to explore Gen Z's work and life balance schedule with a major focus on how do they cooperate with working overtime. First of all, I'm going to look into Gen Z's ideal work time. Then I'm going to look into their attitudes towards working overtime. And last but not least, I'm going to see their attitudes and how well do they know about the user experience design field. So here's my data pool. It received 32 responses. They are all collected data through questionnaire, and all of my participants have a age between 15 to 25 years old. So you can see right here that they are all Gen Z generation. So for the ideal work time of the Gen Z generation is that they preferably want a 30 to 40 hours per week working time and a 10 hours of working overtime. So sometimes working overtime is inevitable. And I wanted to ask a question is that with a good compensation to working overtime, are Gen Z talents still likely to take the job? The major takeaway from this graph right here is that Gen Z show a high possibility of accepting a job working overtime often as long as there is a good compensation policy. So what are the trade-off that Gen Zs want from working overtime? And I conducted a search and asked them a few questions, and here's the takeaway from this pie chart. Higher salary and better promotion opportunities are two favorable trade-offs from working overtime. Next, if Gen Z generation already had plans, are they still likely to respond to unexpected work calls? And right here, as you can see from the graph, and the major takeaway here is that Gen Z talents are more likely to follow through with their original plans when they encounter with unexpected work calls. And this could mean that they're able to balance work and life. Excuse me. So next, I want to ask, will Gen Z talents seek for better opportunities if working overtime too often? So the major takeaway here is that, as you can see from the graph, there's a middle to slightly high chances of Gen Z talents seeking for better opportunities if working overtime too often. Next, I ask Next, I ask a little bit questions about experience design field. And the first is about how well do you know about experience design field? The majority of the votes falls within not familiar to medium level familiar. And the next question is about how interested are you, and which is the Gen Z generation and Gen Z talents in experience design field. I will dig deeper into this question, but look at this graph right here. The majority of the votes falls under the medium level interested in. So next, about the trends regarding working overtime. With a good compensation policy, Gen Z talents are still more likely to choose the job, often requiring to work overtime. And with the salary and better promotion opportunities being the two most favorable trade-offs from working overtime, companies need to ensure their effective compensation policy. Next, there is a medium to medium high chance of not answering unexpected work calls if participants, aka the Gen Z generation, Gen Z talents, already had plans. And next, Gen Z talents are likely to seek better opportunities if working overtime too often. Last but not least, adjustable work schedule, good compensation lead to low dissatisfaction towards work. Next, about experience design field. Gen Z talents are not familiar with the user experience design field. And 12 out of the 32 responses that I received show medium interest in such field. Next, I want to explain about this graph is that I separated different votes who selected no knowledge of experience design field. I want to know how interested are they in experience design field. As you can see from the graph right here, I took out the ones that said they have zero interested in the experience design field. There's still 53% of participants with no knowledge about experience design field show low to medium high interest in such field. So my suggestions for actions is that for work time schedule, it's preferably to have 30 hours to 40 hours per week of work time with acceptable range of 0 to 10 hours of working overtime. And for working overtime, good overtime compensation policy focusing on salary and promotion opportunity is highly valuable to attracting Gen Z talent. Next, about working overtime, balance working schedule and minimize overtime hours is very crucial because high frequency of working overtime could lead to employees seeking for better opportunities. Next, about experience design field is that I think it's very important to improve awareness through educational programs and other approaches. But most importantly, I think it's very worth educating because 53% of the participants who with no background information shows low to medium high interest. That marks the end of my presentation. My name is Haozhen Yang. You can ask me any questions, or please do not hesitate to ask me any questions to this email or this phone number. Look forward to it.